I'll try to keep this short. Uh, the war on masculinity. It's been upsetting me for a long time. Women are encouraged to be more masculine. Um, Children are pressured or made to feel more comfortable selecting their sex at a very young age. Um, I had an ex girlfriend that had somebody in her family that wasn't quite sure what they identify as, and that's totally fine. Um, I'm not trying to be against that because that confusion happens for everybody. I was listening to Michael Jackson singing in a high voice. My uncle sent me a bunch of Sports Illustrated. And I assume that's because my mom said to him, I think the kid's gay. Because I was more feminine, right, back then. Um, and that's okay. Let children explore, you know, other things. If Here's the thing. My grandparents raised my mom and my uncle to interchange. Now, not with everything, with chores. So my mom would be out mowing the lawn one week when my uncle was ironing shirts and cleaning the house. And then they would switch it up. So they understood each other's roles and maybe had a little more respect for it. That's awesome. And I think if children want to explore the other side of things, that's great too. It, just because you're a boy doesn't mean you have to grow up fighting and appreciating guns and G.I. Joe and all that stuff. And just because you're a girl doesn't mean that you can't go out and try karate and kickboxing. You know, it's not limited. But to say, okay, you seem a little less feminine as a woman, I think you should be a man. I think you should consider transitioning. That is crazy to me. We all have tendencies to explore the other side, and we go through phases. As a kid, I did karate, breakdancing, Michael Jackson dancing, started making beats. I did so many different things. And from one week to the next, it might change. So to take a child and say, okay, you're exhibiting feminine qualities, Junior. We're going to put you on estrogen at 8 years old, or hormone blockers for a girl because she wants to be more masculine, put her on testosterone at 12. Here's the thing. I wasn't so interested in women at an early age. You know what it took? Puberty. I mean, I was interested in getting attention from them, but I wasn't attracted to them until puberty hit me. And I don't think women are that concerned with boys. Ew, boy germs, girl germs, all that stuff. That's how we operate as kids. But when we hit puberty, that's when the light goes off. That's when our genes kick in and say, ooh, she is, you know, you're looking at the body shapes, or the women or the young girls might be looking at facial hair kicking in when the guys go through puberty, or broadening shoulders, you know. That all happens at puberty. So to make the decision before puberty is crazy to me, because I was not interested in sex. Well, I started at a very young, never mind, oh, whatever. At a young age, I started experimenting as a man, as a boy, and that drive was because I was attracted to women at a very young age. That's not typical. It's not typical. But once puberty kicks in, the hormones start going, and then your genes are activated, and that tells you what you desire. So if you make a decision for a child before they hit puberty, I think that's completely ridiculous, especially if you play with the hormones, because that's what drives the system, right? Do you want to have babies? Do you want to spread your seed? You know what I'm saying? It's all happening when puberty kicks in. So to make a decision before that, like I said, when I was a kid, I was into so many different things, and it would change week to week, right? We should not determine for the kids. We should allow them to express themselves however they feel, right? However they feel, and be supportive of that. And I completely think that is the best way to go about it. And once they hit puberty, if those hormones kick in, and then it pushes them to be more attracted to women, or identify as a woman, or more attracted to men, or identify as a man, then we have something to work with. But prior to that, to play with their hormonal expression by hormone blockers or adding testosterone or any of that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Um, the mindset, like I said, as children change, and we should be supportive of them identifying and expressing. But when it comes to hormonal changes and committing to something, because if you put a girl, I'm sorry, on testosterone at a young age, you can't flip that back. If she decides later it's in her blueprints to be attracted to men, now she has male characteristics, right? Or if you block a man from going through puberty, then he doesn't have that broad shoulders, thick chest. He doesn't grow as a man. He can't go back and fix that. He can go on testosterone to try to manipulate, right? But he missed a great window to be able to be more masculine, naturally masculine, instead of modifying later after the fact. So if he took estrogen during puberty or androgen blockers, stature will be shorter. I'm shorter. I think my hormones are crazy. I had acne, which is DHT, a derivative of testosterone, and I was very excitable by women at a young age. So my hormones were a little bit different. My growth is stunted. I'm 5'8", and my brother's pretty tall. My dad's pretty tall. But something happened with my hormones where I was like, at a young age, really excited by, the Montgomery Ward catalog, the underwear section. If you're my age, you know what I'm talking about, before the internet. So we should allow kids to grow and listen to them along the way, and not shut them down, right? If they're feeling a certain way, we should allow them to express themselves and nurture that, whatever it is. But once they hit puberty, that can completely change, right? I mean, children are like that. We're growing. I'm not a child. They are growing, and they're trying to understand life. And they might want to, have strawberry ice cream one day, and then peppermint bomb the next. It changes what their wants are. So if we play with our hormones, we're committing them. And then posting on social media, my child is transgender. I support that and everything. Well, if your child is 8 and you support that, that's child abuse. That's my opinion. It can be something different in your mind. That's fine. I just don't agree with it. Let me get back to the original point I was trying to make, is the attack on masculinity. So it's okay for women to be more masculine, get tattoos, smoke cigarettes, and do all kinds of manly shit. I like that. Not the tattoos so much. I appreciate a feminine woman. It's in my blueprints to do that. If you got a sundress on, no tattoos, nice long hair, you don't need makeup. I really don't like makeup. But if you have that feminine quality, I'm triggered by it. I'm like, awesome. That attracts me. Now, if you take some of the sociological attraction that people think men are attracted to, tattoos all over, you might be like, oh, yeah, hey, I like tattoos, and she's got tattoos, I like her. But it's in the blueprints to appreciate a feminine woman, right? And I'm not taking away from anybody if you're attracted to the tattoos because that's what you're into, and to you, that's open mind in a woman, and that's cool too. And if a woman has a couple tattoos, I'm fine with it. I just have a couple tattoos. But it's a masculine trait throughout history. So if you have a woman that's trying to be more masculine and you're driven to appreciate feminine women, there's a conflict there. There might be a super hot chick with all the tattoos, smoking cigarettes, and wearing boots instead of a dress. That's her thing. That might be your thing, and that's all fine and good. But when it comes down to the primal attraction, it's masculine male, feminine women, right? And when we step outside of that, that's perfectly fine too. And I'm not saying if you're attracted to something different or you like the tattoos and that's what really sets you off, I'm not saying it's wrong. We all have different things. There's like foot fetishes for some people. So we all have different things that we're attracted to. But the gender roles, you should never feel like you have to be feminine if you don't feel like being feminine. If you want to get tattoos, get your tattoos. I'm saying generally in the blueprints, when you do that and then you complain that you can't get a good man, something to think about. Or if you're a guy, men of values, if you're a guy and you have typically emotional feminine qualities and you can't keep a girlfriend, it's all in the blueprints, you guys. And like I'm saying, I'm not putting people down. It's cool to be in touch with your emotions as a man. You should understand your emotions and be in touch with them. But if you are overly emotional and you lack logic when it comes to a conversation or argument with your girlfriend, you're going to lose her. Eventually, you're going to lose her because it's in her blueprints to find a guy that's standoffish. Here's one of the things that I've been noticing lately. Like I said in the last video, I'm 48, you guys. So I've been through a lot of shit, and I'm starting to realize stuff now that I've heard Richard Cooper, Entrepreneurs in Cars. If you're interested in anything I'm saying, I think you should explore that, Rollo Tomasi. Not that you should gravitate to that and hold it as gospel and how you want to navigate your life, but you should understand some of the things they're talking about. To sit back and relax and think if you talk to a girl nicely, she's going to like you. Friend zone. Boom. That's what happens. That's what happens. Go watch some of Entrepreneurs in Cars. It's all about men holding on to their frame and women being feminine, and that's tradition. That's etched in our blueprints, you guys. And it's not saying that it can't work outside of that, but lately we've had a failure of relationships, right? I mean, couples staying together, and I think it's because we lost track of our identity, you know. And if it's a lesbian couple and there's a masculine woman and a feminine woman, and or if they're both masculine, whatever works, that's fine. But in general, last video was control your emotions. I'm getting a little too into this. I'm sorry about it. And I'm not getting into it like I'm like trying to put anybody down. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to point out that there's been an attack on masculinity and a boost on feminism. Women are in control, all that stuff. And men are, especially the middle-aged white man. I got gray hair, I'm a white man. You know, I'm masculine as a mother, right? So I'm junk to society. But if we look at it, society was built by people like me, right? So we all enjoy the comforts, and we can make this racial too. We enjoy the comforts of what was built by the people that came before us, right? And I think a lot of us take it for granted, you know. And I'm not saying that, let's just erase that. I don't edit these things. I rant a little bit. What was the point I was trying to make about the male-female relationship? Yes, when I made reference to Entrepreneurs in Cars, and what I realized as I get along my path in life is that you have to, guys, men or women, you can identify with this too and use it to your benefit in your relationships if you're the masculine person in the relationship. You have to be able to walk off the lot. Now, that's making a reference to buying a car. So if you're negotiating with the guy that's trying to sell you, or the woman that's trying to sell you a car, right, you have to be comfortable enough to say, not a good deal for me. I'm sorry. I'm going to wait to buy a car, or I'm going to go to the other lot. You have to be comfortable. And that could be in a relationship that you've been in for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, or a marriage, right? You have, in a marriage, you're committed. That's a little different. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But in a dating situation, you have to be able to say, no, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. And a lot of people in relationships, whether it's men or women, they try to test you to see if they can push you like that. See how much shit you're going to take before you walk away. So it's important, I think, that if they're giving you too much shit or problems or infidelity or whatever it is, you have to be able to say, I'm good. I'm good. No, thank you. I really like you, but I don't like your behavior. So I'm going to move on and find somebody that's a better fit for me. You have to be able to do that. And if you don't establish that early on, because women will give you shit from the first date. I've been there, showing up late. And okay, let me just rewind. There was a situation, I was really intrigued by a woman, and we had the second date, and she was late. It's like, okay, I'm going to be patient because I'm a patient guy. I try to understand. Plus, I was attracted. So I waited and I waited and I waited. Finally, the waitress came up and said, well, would you like another drink? Yeah, bring me one more drink in the tab. It wasn't too far after the time we were supposed to meet. But when the woman finally got there, she goes, oh, I'm sorry that I'm late, traffic and everything. I know Minnesota traffic and I know when it's bad. I said, well, I was just about to leave because the receipt was on the table. I said, I'm paying my tab, getting ready to go. I just want to finish my beer. So you're here now. Okay, fine. That's just a small example, and really, people, from my point of view, it's women, but people will try to test you. Guys will see how much shit they can get away with too. I don't think it's as intense as women or early on as women, but eventually people want to test their boundaries to see what they can get away with. And if we tie that back into the maintaining your masculinity, right? Don't let people shit on you because you're establishing a pattern right there by accepting it. You stand up for yourself, be willing to walk off the lot and say, this doesn't work for me. And then it might be a day or two, and that person might call you up or show up at your door and be like, whatever. They might come back, right? If they don't come back, they weren't that into you. So what? They tested you and you said whatever, and they realized they couldn't get away with bullshit and they moved on to somebody else. So you saved yourself a lot of time. It's tricky because early on in a relationship, you don't have much invested as far as emotion and time and everything. But if you start taking shit early on, you're setting up a pattern where it's going to be a part of the game with that relationship. Now, if you're in a relationship like that, maybe try to walk off the lot and see what happens. Maybe they'll be like, oh my God, I realize I've been being a dick, or I've been being a bitch of a woman to you. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll value you more because they know that you're not going to take shit and you'll walk off, right? So tie it back to masculinity. I talked about the kids, feminism, going off on a tangent. All this stuff ties into an attack on masculinity. I think, let me get political. I think Democrats said that most men that work out are tied to white supremacists, and that's why they want to put on muscle or learn how to fight, is because they want to take over the world. That's a complete load of shit. They're trying to take masculinity and push that shit down. They're trying to take women and say, be more masculine. And they're trying to take kids and say, be whatever you want to be. Here's the thing. Once the government, the media, whatever it is, tries to convince the public that all this shit is okay, they make a weaker society. Oh, is that their goal? To make a weaker society? I don't know, but I'll make reference again to what I said earlier. Regardless of how it happened, men built the society that we enjoy. Women came in, they played a part, and hopefully they can be a greater part as we move on. But it was built by men, loaded with testosterone and positive aggression to build society, protect our families, and we should not be ashamed if we feel those tendencies to protect our family, our loved ones, or build, inspire, earn, whatever. We shouldn't be put down. I think that's the whole attack on masculinity. I think we need to get away from that. or stand up for ourselves and walk off the lot. Like I was talking about, even in a relationship, say, you know what? I'm not going to let you try to take away my masculinity, whether it's social stuff, I should be ashamed because I just got done at the gym and my t-shirt's a little tight. No, no. If you're a dude, you're out of shape and you let women push you around, you should be ashamed, right? And that's not something that you can't change, right? It doesn't mean that you're locked into it. It just means you observe different things as you grow up. I was very, like I said earlier in the video, I was more of a feminine kid. That's why my uncle gave me the Sports Illustrated, I think. I'm assuming. A stack of Sports Illustrated to try to get me more into sports because I was dancing around like Michael Jackson, singing like Ralph Tresvant in New Edition. And the age I grew up, that was when he was a teenager with a really high voice, right? So I was pretty damn feminine, right? But I gradually got into more masculine things. I started karate soon after I got done with breakdancing. Then started lifting weights, just like in the basement. Then I got into seriously lifting weights. And then I got into MMA, then jiu-jitsu. And I was allowed to just grow and express that part of me. Now, nowadays, if I was that kid that was singing New Edition and dancing like Michael Jackson, I might have been approached at my physical with the doctor saying, you should take hormones because you're pretty feminine. We need to make you a woman, or you want to be a woman, whatever. And all that was before puberty. I mean, when I was behaving like that, when puberty kicked in, and I think puberty must have hit me like at 8 years old, started to, because I got invigorated. We'll just say invigorated. I got invigorated at a very young age, right? So all I'm saying is, if you want to express yourself to be more feminine, that's fine. If you want to express yourself to be more masculine, that's fine. When you hit puberty, that's the deciding factor that you should take into account, because if you do it before puberty, you can't reverse it. I don't care what they're telling you. I know enough about hormones that once you start that path, you can't reverse it. I mean, you could stop doing the hormones or the hormone blockers, but the effect that it had on your body already, you can't reverse those changes. Like if a young woman wants to identify as a man and she gets on hormone therapy, she's going to have facial hair she can't get rid of, right? Electrolysis, whatever. She's going to have musculature that you can shrink down, but you're actually a little bit of muscle on a woman is actually pretty awesome. But there's going to be changes in the body that you can't reverse. And who knows what's going to happen with your reproductive system if you decide later on that you want to have kids. Even with guys, if you take estrogen and everything, that shuts your testosterone way down. If you do that before puberty, you're going to miss a lot of masculine development. Who knows what's going to happen? And I think with all the hype around supporting kids that are before puberty, pre-puberty, to be what they want, and will support you with hormone blockers or estrogen or testosterone, I think that is absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's going to be 2 decades before we start to see what problems that causes. I did see an interview with a woman that transitioned to a man. She did it later in life, and she completely regrets it. So that was after she'd been through puberty, right? But she still had that desire and everything. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that that's wrong. But after that, she was like, shit, and I can't change it. I got a full beard, right? So all I'm saying is, when it comes to taking hormones for whatever reason, if you're doing the opposite of what is in your blueprints, it's hard to change it. It's hard to change it. And it can make life really uncomfortable. One of the big concerns that I have is that transgender people, now, don't take me wrong, I'm not against transgender people, but I am concerned because the suicide rate for people that don't transition is pretty high. It's pretty high for people that do transition too. So there might be some other things that need to be addressed. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a endocrinologist. I do have a firm understanding of emotion or hormones, but there's a lot that's going on that I don't understand, right? Excuse me, I'm not a genius on this stuff. But I think we have to stand up for people that are trying to squash masculinity. You know, 25 minutes this time, you guys. I am sorry. If you feel masculine, I did a video like months ago, two videos where I said Masculine Monday. Find a way to express your masculinity, you know, and that should be every day. Not to do it on purpose, to put it in the face of people that aren't so masculine, you know, no, but you shouldn't squash it. You shouldn't squash your expression of who you are as a man. If you feel manly, be manly. You want to grow a big beard and, you know, have big traps, you know, lift weights, fight, box, whatever, work on cars. You want to be a cowboy? Express that. Express that. And I think we're missing that in society. I think there was a certain comfortable zone that men got into where it's like, okay, maybe they listened to too much Lionel Richie. I'm kidding. But maybe there was a little too much sensitivity put on us from Happy Wife, Happy Life, romantic comedies, the music. I remember listening to the radio station back before I started, you know, doing Bluetooth with my phone. And I was like, every guy that's singing has that high voice like a woman and talking sensitive shit. I'm like, are they trying to fuck with us? Are they trying to take the dudes that are dudes and make us more feminine by all this shit they're playing? I'm not saying there hasn't been good songs that are sang in the high voice. I love Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, Sonic Silk. You guys, check it out if you haven't already. But it was overbearing from what I was paying attention to. I was like, what are they trying to do? You know? So romantic comedies, Happy Wife, Happy Life, all this feminine music that's sang by men. Philip Bailey from back in the days, R&B singer, awesome. You know, I'm not discrediting any of these singers or the music, but when you turn on a radio station, that's all you hear. You guys remember Johnny Gill? You know, he was a manly singer. You know, and we don't seem to have that. We don't seem to have manly singers. Gerald Levert, I don't know if you remember, those are R&B singers. But singers that had some fucking balls. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, all that stuff got boxed up and sent away. But for some reason, we have gangster rap, you know, or rap that's talking about drugs, beating women, hoes, and all that shit. If you look around me, I make hip-hop. I love hip-hop. I grew up on hip-hop. But what it's turned into since NWA, and I love NWA's music, Dr. Dre's the shit, whatever. And I appreciate a lot of the music after that. For me, it was much more the music. But now, when I watch YouTube, it flips to a commercial about, you know, breast cancer, and then it goes to a rap video that's complete shit. You know, there's no good lyrics to it. They're talking the same fucking thing, using auto-tune. I'm going off on a tangent. I want to, shit, I'm going to hit 30 minutes, you guys. I'm sorry. If you're with me for this long, okay, I appreciate it. Maybe you're thinking some of the same crap I'm talking about, right? But masculinity shouldn't be dumbass masculinity, and that's what I hear on hip-hop now. It used to be, I am an intelligent artist. If you think about some of the best rap lyricists or KRS-One, the teacher, I got an education from listening to hip-hop in 87 and 88. Like I said, I'm 48 now, right? I got an education and inspired me to try to understand things better. And for me trying to write songs back then, I read the dictionary. I was failing at algebra. The teacher at the time said, okay, I get it, because I would look at numbers and come up with the answer. You know, it was like Rain Man shit. But he said, no, you got to show your work, otherwise I can't give you credit. So I failed. I failed the test and everything. You know, I get a few right, but I wasn't showing my work, so I got penalized for that. So he goes, tell you what, I can see your gears are going, but I can't pass you because you have failing scores. But what I can allow you to do is do extra credit. So I'm going to give you a list of mathematicians and philosophers, and I want you to do a report on them, right? And I knew some of that stuff from KRS-One, so I delved deeper into it, and I passed the class. That's crazy. I'm just an ADD kid or something. Like Rain Man, I could look at numbers and come up with the answer, but it didn't show the work, so I got myself into a spot, and I was allowed to get out of that spot because I was educated by hip hop. Now, if we look at hip hop, is it educating anybody, or is it supporting bad behavior and dumbass mentality? The intelligence in hip hop is pretty much gone. If we look at some of the underground shit, that's awesome, but that's not being pushed upon us. It's available, right? It's available. Dumb shit is pushed upon us. And if you look at like female pop stars, what are they? Nicki Minaj. I know I'm going a few years back, but these women showing ass and dancing and doing lesbian shit, and what are you showing? What are you representing? It's of course that's huge on the radio because they want to dumb us down. Rant. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for taking up a bunch of your time. 30 minutes. Didn't mean to do so. I was going to try to keep this short, but once I start going, I go. And I don't edit. Like I said, I'm not professional. I just go and then I cut it off when I'm done. I should have been done 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry. Should have been a 10-minute video. Control my emotions, right? The attack on masculinity is horseshit. And I'm not saying we should fight back, but we shouldn't shut down our expression of our masculinity, right? Whatever you feel like doing, do it. However you feel like looking, do it. Be a man. And honestly, if you're a woman and you feel masculine, you want to express that, do that too. There's nobody saying that you have to fit a role. We can go outside the lanes. We can do whatever we want to do. My concern is that the typical American male is being squashed down. If we look across the country, Mexican men, Italian men, there's men around the country, around the world that maintain their masculinity, their frame in their relationships and whatever they do. American males have been attacked and, pussified. All right, you guys. I'm sorry. Again, I'm really not. I'm sorry for taking up a ton of your time. Studio's a mess. I'm getting it better though, so we're getting close to having a real podcast. You see the microphones back there. I got velvet drapes all over the place and a new desk. The acoustics are going to be sweet. But right now it's a mess. So I'm just shooting out these, what I would think would be short videos, but once I start going, you know what happens. I apologize for rambling on for so long and taking up so much of your time. Stay masculine. Stay masculine and express yourselves as a man. It's in your blueprints. If you hamper that, it might lead to depression. I don't know. Cheers, you guys. Till next time, Scott Rockford.